wasting the time of the team of the human resources team. With this, you can put restrictions. For instance, you're offering a position in digital marketing. If the keywords digital marketing don't appear in the last two positions that this person has held and that are reflected in LinkedIn, the person cannot apply. Okay? So no more crappy CVs being received. Also, you're able to see if the person who's applying to the vacant position has any contacts within your company. Immediately it gets notified to you. So with just one click, you're able to contact this employee and tell him, hey, apparently you have a contact named Manuel Alonso who is applying to the position of Chief Marketing Officer. Do you already know him? Can you provide me some feedback about him? So it goes like this. Okay, but it's not only about LinkedIn, it's plenty of different social media platforms that you can use for recruiting talent. For instance, have a look at this webpage where you're younger, where you like in your early 20s. If this would be a junior master, I would really recommend you guys internships.com. Internships.com is the most popular social media platform for young people trying to obtain their first job once they finish university and start working as interns. Okay, these days this guy Charlie Sheen has been sadly appearing in the news because he got AIDS and all this stuff, and it was before that. Okay, it's 1 year old, something like this. Yeah, I think it's 1 year old. The guy was looking for someone, for an intern, for helping him out, and as everyone else in the world, he went to internships.com, uploaded here the vacant position, and you see the results. In less than 1 hour, close to 100,000 people had viewed the vacant position from nearly 200 countries all around the world, and he received more than 70,000 applications. So it works very efficiently. It allows you to obtain talent in just but a second. But it's not only about identifying the talent, it's also about filtering the talent. Okay, who's good for the position, who's not. That's a typical work that the headhunting companies used to do for us. They started working with a base of 200 potential candidates, and they would offer us the possibility of interviewing like 3. And for these services, that were charging 1/3 of the gross salary in the first year, as we have been saying. Now we can use different standards, the main of which is cloud, as you can see here. The higher the cloud, the more influential this person is. Okay, but it's not the only tool that's being used for filtering. In fact, the human resources team is now taking courses to learn how to filter this curricula in the most efficient way. I can tell you that in the in-company program that has been our bestseller in 2015 was precisely this one, Human Resources 2.0, because every human resources department wants to get trained on about how to do this, how to identify talent and how to filter it so they can recruit in the most efficient way. Tell you that every multinational company is now into this, so it's time for starting improving our cloud number. How are we going to be able to improve our cloud number? Okay, by increasing our social media presence from the professional standpoint, and this is what we're going to be trying to address with this small workshop. Okay, as I was saying before, personal brands with people. I would add people in your sector. Say about you when you leave the room. Okay, because we're talking here about professional personal branding. Okay, let me skip this part. Well, traditional CVs are over. Okay, now you need to count on a video CV, for instance, and it's plenty of tools that will allow you to create a video CV. Since human resources department are having to take care of the recruiting, they are overloaded with work because they are having to assume responsibilities that they didn't have before. So they don't have that much time. They don't have a lot of time for reading. And besides, everyone else is going to be sending a curriculum in PDF. If you create using one of the lots of shareware tools that exist out there. If you create a video CV explaining in just 2 minutes why you are the candidate, ideal candidate for the position, it's going to help you make it through the different levels of filtering. And of course, creating a personal web page is of the utmost importance. In our business school, the very moment you join the MBA, you get assigned a tutor that will be helping you out to find the job of your dreams along the 11 months that the program lasts, okay? And we follow this digital self-branding plan, that canvas that I have designed about 2 years ago. So we first identify in which position this person should better work. It's not only where he or she wants to work, because sometimes students are not very realistic, okay? And that's why they are assigned a tutor that will explain that, hey man, no matter you want to go and work for Disney, you don't speak English, so it's not a very good idea, okay? Let's try to do something different, okay? Well, that's why they count on a tutor. But first thing have to do for sure is creating a web page. And a web page that would transmit differentially, once again, your unique selling proposition. The model is exactly the same that we have been working with all these days for the commercial brands. It's only that we're going to apply it now to personal brands. Okay, so first of all, you need to count on a strong unique selling proposition. Afterwards, you need to create conversational capital. And at the third level, okay, you will have to use digital media, in this occasion with a special accent on social, in order to try to make the creation of conversational capital as quick and effective as possible. But first of all, we have to work this part. We have to create a micro niche of influence for you, what's called unique selling proposition. When we're selling commercial products or services, it's called micro niche of influence. If we're talking about digital self-branding, if we're talking about selling ourselves, about selling our own professional time, okay? So this is a real case of an example from one of my students last year. Her name was Pilar, okay? And Pilar had been working as a director of art in a very important advertising agency, but you know, Spain was in deep crisis, so she got the sack. She came to do an MBA with us, just to try to, well, reposition herself on the market. And well, we were identifying which would be the ideal micro niche of influence for her. Okay, so we identified that there were not a lot of good professionals. She wanted to work in Madrid. She was married. She was like 40 something. She was married with kids and so on, so she could not move from Madrid. And she wanted to find a good job there in the advertising sector. We identified that there were not that many good professionals specializing in digital art. Okay, so we were helping her during all the months that she was in the business school to create content. We were helping her to open profiles in different social networks that would make her very visible for marketing departments or advertising agencies that were working for creative staff that had counted on very good skills at a digital level. For proving how good she was with this, we decided to create a very special web page for her. We create a web page for every student, and we tried this personal web page to transmit the brand values of their personal brand, to transmit why they are special in their micro niche of influence. So we wanted to prove that Pilar was really a very creative woman, and that mastered all different digital techniques. So we created a very special website for her, a website in which you could, through which you could interview her 24/7, 365 days a year. How? Well, we made her work hard and think of the 100 most likely questions that she could be asked when interviewed for a position she would like, okay? And once she identified the questions, we made her also write the answers, and afterwards we recorded videos corresponding to each of the answers. We put all the questions in written on the web page, and we index them so anyone willing to interview Pilar could be able to type the question, saying, for instance, how many languages do you speak? And you started typing languages, and all the questions related to languages would appear. You would click on them, and the video would play, saying, hey, I speak 3 languages because I'm Spanish. I was working in London for 2 years, and I was also working for 6 months in France, so my English perfect and my French kind of good, and I'm native in speaking Spanish. Okay? Well, by doing so, and by creating a search engine marketing campaign for her, mostly search engine optimization campaign for her, we will be able to make her very well known. And in less than a month, she received 3 job offers from 3 of the most important advertising agencies in the country. She rejected one because one of the advertising agencies was in Barcelona, but she got final offers by 2 of them, and she's now the director of art of McCann Erickson Spain. You probably know McCann Erickson because it's everywhere. Okay, so this is digital soft branding put to practice. Okay, we're gonna try to analyze how this can be done. But I told you already in Spain, 79% of the people that get a good job is because they did an effort to try to get more visibility in social media from the professional standpoint. So this doesn't work anymore. The traditional CV doesn't work anymore. This has to be the new CV, okay, with all the digital information about yourself, so people can get to know more about you without the need of having to call you for an interview. And also, as it says here in Spanish, a quick presentation. That would be a QR code, okay, that could be captured, and immediately you will have access to a 2 minutes video or a video CV where this person explains why he or she thinks that's a perfect candidate for the position. Okay, well, let's skip this part because I'm gonna be trying to make this as quick as possible. Dressing asked me to finish by 1:30, so I want to go through the theoretical approach of the model, and also I want some of you to volunteer to try to come here, work with me, trying to create a digital self-branding plan for some of you. So I'm gonna try to speed it up and skipping several of the slides. Okay. Well, doing this can be the stairway to heaven or hell in professional terms. Okay. And yeah, let me, in order to try to inspire you, let me offer you some inspirational examples of people that worked very hard with personal branding and now make a very good living on it. Okay, for instance, this is the author of The Purple Cow. Probably you have read this book. Okay, Seth Godin, and well, you say Seth, and everyone thinks of instantly of marketing. You say Guy Kawasaki, and everyone thinks immediately of startup. You say Robert Scoble, everyone thinks immediately about technology. How did all these guys do it? Well, they started with a blog. I was mentioning Enrique Dans before. You remember I was recommending for you with the smart switches that, for instance, if you want to sell them in the Spanish-speaking market, Enrique Dans would be the most important influencer ever. Enrique started, he was obtaining his PhD in Stanford, and the very moment he got back to Spain, he started creating a blog. It was 1997. Now, as I was saying before, 22 million Spanish-speaking people follow this guy. He has been able to create an incredible brand. Now it's not only the blog. Now he's, of course, like every other professor in a powerful business school, have lots of researchers working for us. okay, but he's now producing content not only for the blog, but also for LinkedIn, also for lots of different social networks where he wants to be perceived as an influencer. Okay, and of course, all these guys, well, they are multimillionaire because they charge you, well, 10,000 euros a day for lecturing, okay? And, well, they did it all thanks to social networks. Let's try to skip this part. And let's start with what's really important. Are you Googling yourselves? Yes. And what does it appear? What appears, it's good stuff. It reflects your professional skills. It reflects how you want to be perceived by a potential employer. That's the first thing we need to do. Okay, because let me put you a very simple example. My father's a retired engineer. He doesn't care about his personal brand anymore because he's 69 and he has been retired for 10 years. Okay, so he has never taken care of what Google shows about him. So if you type the name of my father right now, Alfredo Alonso Noval, everything you will find will be traffic fine notifications. Okay, so you can tend to think that my father's like a crazy pilot crashing the car all around. It's not like that, okay? He's close to 70, come on. But since he's producing no content at all that will help position his self-brand the right way, you